Last but not least, it is my pleasure to introduce Ray Celeste Tanner from the Department of Communication and Information, who will be presenting for us a question a day.
My junior year of college, my dad was diagnosed with a terminal illness. Between losing him after and starting grad school just 6 months after, as well as those final 2 years of college, I experienced the whole spectrum of how to, and most importantly, how not to talk to a student who is going through big life changes. So when I started my PhD here at the University of Kentucky, I knew that my main focus was to get to know my students as people first and as students second. I figured if I could get to know them as people, I could better support them as humans and as students. So I started thinking about strategies that I could use for this, but I also teach 50-minute class sessions, and so I wanted to accomplish some other goals as well as just getting to know my students. I teach persuasive speaking in the Department of Communication, and I wanted my students to get some really non-threatening public speaking practice. And quite frankly, I was teaching to a room full of masks, and I wanted to get to know those eyes and foreheads in the room. So I implemented a question a day, my attendance questions. Now these questions start off at the beginning of the semester as really harmless and easy. I'll ask, what's your favorite color? Or if you could have a superpower, what would it be and why? But as the semester progresses and my students get to know each other a little bit more, I see that they want to share more. I ask them questions like, who inspires you? Or what's your favorite gift you've ever received? Or around midterms, which class is stressing you out the most? With a group of seniors one time, after a particularly challenging week, I asked them their most unpopular opinion, and they did not disappoint. Now, I've learned that in addition to getting to know each other and me getting to know my students, they've created these connections that have helped create a really good community in our classroom. And this has been awesome for peer feedback, where my students feel comfortable getting through like the nitty-gritty of each other's speeches and papers. And it's also helped for having a safe place to kind of make risks or take risks. Obviously, public speaking is a little bit scary, and so if they can do this in a safe spot where they feel like they have the comfort to take these risks, I know they're improving. And then also, it makes me a little bit less intimidating as an instructor because I also share my answers. So next semester, I'll be teaching a class I've never taught before. And even though I won't be teaching to masks, and my students probably won't need that extra public speaking practice, I know that I'm going to continue with my question a day. Because not only has it allowed me to get to know my students, allowed for my students to get to know each other, which helps our classroom goals, but most importantly, it allows me to get to know my students as people first and as students second. Thanks.